There's something happening right now that you need to understand. While you're watching this, while you're breathing in this very moment, someone out there is carrying your name in their consciousness like a prayer they can't stop repeating. You felt it too, haven't you? That strange weight in your chest when you think of them, that sudden flash of their face in your mind, when you're doing something completely unrelated, that dream that felt too real to be just a dream. But here's what most people don't realize. This isn't one-sided. When you feel that magnetic pull toward someone, when their presence haunts your quiet moments and disrupts your peace, there's an invisible thread connecting you both, and it's pulling from both ends. The universe doesn't create these connections randomly. Every person who occupies space in your heart, who lingers in your thoughts beyond logic or reason, is there because your souls recognize something that your human eyes couldn't immediately see. This recognition happens in the realm beyond words, beyond the physical, in that sacred space where energy speaks the only truth that matters. And right now, this person you're thinking about, yes, the one whose name disappeared in your mind, they're experiencing the exact same magnetic pull, even if they're fighting it, even if they're pretending they're not, even if they convince themselves that distance or time or circumstances have erased what's really there. The invisible thread doesn't break just because someone looks away. It doesn't dissolve because they've chosen silence. If anything, resistance makes it stronger because the soul knows what the mind is trying to deny. You see, thoughts are energy, and energy moves through space and time without needing permission from logic or fear. When you think of someone with intensity, with emotion, with that unexplainable longing, you're sending a signal directly to their energetic field. They receive it, even if they don't consciously understand what they're receiving. They feel restless. They feel an ache they can't name. They suddenly remember conversations you had months ago, or they catch themselves wondering what you're doing, who you're with, whether you've moved on. This isn't coincidence. This is the invisible thread at work, connecting two hearts that were always meant to find each other, even when the journey takes longer than expected, even when the path is covered in obstacles and doubt. Take a slow breath right now and tune into that feeling in your chest, that warmth, that heaviness, that gentle ache. That's the confirmation you've been looking for. You're not imagining this connection. It's real, it's mutual, and it's working its way toward resolution in ways you can't yet see, but will soon recognize as divine timing. Let me tell you something that will change how you see every interaction from this point forward. Words are just sounds shaped by the tongue, and actions are just movements performed by the body. But energy is a language of truth that cannot be manipulated or disguised. When someone's energy reaches for yours, even from across a crowded room or across continents, you feel it in your bones, in your blood, in that sudden shift in the atmosphere around you that makes you look up or turn around as if someone called your name. This is happening between you and this person more often than you realize. While they're going about their day, attempting to focus on work or responsibilities or other people, your energy signature keeps appearing in their field like a song they can't get out of their head. They don't know why they suddenly feel the urge to check your social media, or why your name seems to appear everywhere they look, or why they keep having conversations with you in their mind long after you've stopped speaking in real life. This is the invisible conversation, the one that happens in the energetic realm where two souls communicate without the filter of ego or fear. Your higher self and their higher self are having dialogues every single night while your human consciousness sleeps, working to the complications, the timing, the lessons that needed to be learned before you could fully come together. These nighttime meetings are why you sometimes wake up with them on your mind, why you have dreams that feel more like memories and fantasies, why there's a knowing inside you that can't be explained but also can't be denied. The language of energy operates on frequency, and when two people share a similar vibration, when their souls are tuned to the same station, they become magnetically drawn to each other in ways that defy logic and distance. You can be miles apart and still feel when they're thinking of you. You can be surrounded by dozens of people and still sense when their attention is somewhere else, carrying a piece of you wherever they go. This person might not say it out loud yet. They might not send that text or make that call, or show up at your door with confession, but their energy is screaming what their mouth can't articulate. Every time they hesitate before posting something on social media, wondering if you'll see it. Every time they choose a song that reminds them of you, or avoid a place because the memories there are too heavy to carry alone. Every time they lie awake at 3 in the morning and feel that inexplicable pull toward you, that's their energy reaching across whatever distance separates you, trying to tell you what their pride or fear won't allow them to say. Close your eyes for just a second and ask yourself this. When was the last time you felt their presence even though they weren't physically there? That's not your imagination playing tricks. That's the energy speaking, and it's telling you that what you're feeling is being mirrored back to you in ways that will soon become undeniable. Now, here's where it gets complicated, where the human experience collides with spiritual truth and creates the tension you've been feeling. This person is resisting, not because they don't feel it. They absolutely do, but because feeling it terrifies them in ways they might not even fully understand themselves. You see, when someone affects you this deeply, when someone walks into your life and disrupts everything you thought you knew about love or connection or yourself, it forces you to confront parts of your soul that you've been carefully avoiding. Maybe they've been hurt before, deeply and profoundly, in ways that taught them that opening up equals inevitable pain. Maybe they built walls so high and so thick that they've forgotten there was ever a time when they existed without protection. Maybe they're in a situation right now that makes acknowledging these feelings feel impossible. A relationship that's comfortable even if it's not right. A life path that's safe even if it's not fulfilling. A version of themselves that they presented to the world that doesn't allow space for the vulnerability that loving you would require. The resistance isn't about you. It's never about you. It's about them fighting against the transformation that getting close to you would demand. Because you're not just another person they could casually date or easily forget. You're the one who sees them, really sees them past all the performances and personas and protective mechanisms. You're the one who awakens something in them that's been dormant, something wild and true and terrifying, because it can't be controlled or predicted. And that kind of awakening requires a death of sorts, a death of who they've been pretending to be, a death of the safe story they've been telling themselves about what they want and what they deserve. Not everyone is ready for that kind of rebirth. Not everyone has the courage to walk to the fire of transformation, even when they know that something beautiful waits on the other side. So they pull back, they go silent, they convince themselves that what they're feeling isn't real or isn't worth the risk. They tell themselves stories about why now isn't the right time or why you're not the right person, even though their soul knows better, even though their heart keeps betraying them with that persistent ache whenever your name crosses their mind. But here's the thing about sacred resistance. It's not permanent. It's a phase, a necessary part of the journey where the person has to wrestle with their own demons, their own fears, their own past before they can step fully into what's trying to emerge. The universe is patient. It knows that some souls need to crash into their own walls a few times before they finally decide to tear them down. It knows that the resistance itself is part of the lesson, part of the growth, part of what makes the eventual coming together so powerful and so permanent. So while they're fighting it, while they're pretending they don't think about you constantly, while they're trying to convince themselves they can just walk away, the universe is quietly dismantling every excuse, every barrier, every false belief that stands between them and the truth that keeps them awake at night. Pay attention now, because what I'm about to share will help you see what's been hiding in plain sight this entire time. No matter how hard someone tries to conceal their feelings, no matter how convincing their act of indifference might seem, the truth always finds a way to leak through the cracks. You just have to know where to look and what to look for. Have you noticed the patterns? The way they suddenly appear after you've been thinking about them intensely? The way they're like an old photo from months ago, or watch your stories within seconds of you posting them. Even though they're supposedly too busy to reach out, the way their energy shifts when you're in the same space, how they become hyper-aware of your presence even when they're pretending not to notice, how their body unconsciously turns toward you like a plant seeking sunlight. These aren't accidents. These are the signs that someone is carrying you in their consciousness so heavily that they can't help but reveal it in small, uncontrollable ways. Watch their timing. People who claim they don't think about you don't happen to reach out right after you've been thinking about them or right after something significant has happened in your life. They don't randomly send messages on dates that hold meaning or at hours when the veil between souls is thinnest and defenses are lowest. They don't accidentally bring you up in conversations or ask mutual friends about you while simultaneously insisting they've moved on. The universe orchestrates these reveals, these small breadcrumbs that confirm what your intuition has been whispering all along. Look at how they speak about you when they do speak about you. Notice the emotion that slips into their voice when your name is mentioned, the way their eyes change, the defensiveness or the softness or the careful neutrality that's trying too hard to be casual. Notice what they don't say as much as what they do. The questions they avoid asking, the topics they steer away from, the future they won't let themselves imagine out loud, because imagining it makes it too real and too terrifying. And here's something most people miss. Notice what shows up in your own life right after you've been thinking about them. Synchronicities aren't random. When you see their favorite number everywhere, when you hear the song that reminds you of them 3 times in one day, when you encounter something that feels like a message designed specifically for you, that's the universe confirming that the energetic connection is active and alive. Your intuition has been trying to tell you this entire time that what you're feeling is real and reciprocated. Those gut feelings when you know they're thinking about you, those sudden urges to reach out right before they do, those dreams that feel like actual visits from their consciousness. All of it is valid. All of it is true. All of it is the evidence you've been seeking. Trust what you're sensing beneath the surface, beyond the words, past the physical distance or the temporary silence. The signs are everywhere once you learn the language they're speaking. Something is shifting. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle change in the air, that sense that the waiting is almost over, that whatever's been brewing beneath the surface is about to break through into reality in ways you can't ignore anymore. The universe has been preparing both of you for this moment, dismantling the obstacles, dissolving the fears, arranging circumstances in ways that seem random but were actually deeply intentional. What's coming isn't going to be small or halfway. When this finally breaks open, when the resistance crumbles and the truth can no longer be contained, it's going to be undeniable, powerful, and it's going to change everything you thought you knew about timing and destiny and what's possible between two people who were always meant to find their way back to each other. Right now, in this very moment, things are happening behind the scenes that you can't yet see. This person is going through an internal process, a reckoning with themselves, a confrontation with the fears that have kept them paralyzed. They're realizing that running from what they feel isn't making it go away. They're discovering that all the distractions and all the logic and all the reasons they invented for why this couldn't work are crumbling under the weight of a truth that won't be silenced anymore. The divine timing that's been frustrating you, that's made you question whether any of this was real, has actually been protecting you both, ensuring that when you finally come together, it's from a place of readiness rather than desperation, from a place of wholeness rather than woundedness. You've both been growing separately so that you can merge completely. You've both been learning lessons that needed to be learned before you could hold what's trying to be born between you. And now, the season is changing. You're entering a phase where everything accelerates, where the signs become impossible to ignore, where the pull becomes so strong that resistance feels more painful than surrender. Watch what happens in the coming days and weeks. Pay attention to the sudden shifts, the unexpected messages, the dreams that feel prophetic, the synchronicities that multiply. Something major is about to occur, something that will make everything you've been feeling suddenly make perfect sense. But here's what I need you to understand before we end this moment together. The next chapter of this story isn't what you're expecting. What's about to unfold involves something you haven't considered yet, a piece of this puzzle that will reframe everything you thought you knew about this connection and where it's actually headed. The universe has one more reveal, one more twist, one more truth that needs to come to light before the full picture becomes clear. And that truth, well, that's something we need to explore in the next conversation, because what I'm about to share with you will change not just how you see this person, but how you see yourself and your role in what's unfolding. Until then, trust the process, trust your intuition, and most importantly, trust that what's meant for you is already making its way to you. Even now, even in the silence, even in the waiting.